133 days. A brief affair that changed everything. A love that began in July. When I first met Cisse, it was like stepping into a summer that would last forever. It was July 5th, 2024, a date I will never forget because it marked the start of something I thought might heal me. What I didn't realize then was that some beginnings are meant to be brief, like the bloom of a flower that's gone before you can fully admire it. At the time, I was fresh out of a 7-year relationship, one that had drained me of the person I used to be. I'd spent years in a love that felt like an anchor, no one that grounded me. Leaving that relationship was one of the hardest decisions I'd ever made, and it left me unsure of what I wanted or deserved. When I met Cece on a dating app, I wasn't expecting much. I thought I might find a distraction, maybe even companionship. Instead, I found a man who made me feel like I was breathing fresh air for the first time in years. Our first meeting in Manchester felt electric. When I stepped off the train at the Piccadilly station, my heart was pounding. I spotted him almost instantly, standing near the arrivals board. Tall, broad-shouldered, and dressed in a crepe-colored shirt. He looked even better in person. His dark skin glowed in the summer light, and the confident smile he gave me when our eyes met made my stomach flip. "You made it," he said, stepping forward to hug me. His voice was just as deep and steady as I'd imagined, and I couldn't help but smile. "Of course," I replied, trying to sound calm, despite the fluttering in my chest. The train ride had been long, and I was nervous about how our first meeting would go, but all those fears melted away the moment we started walking together. The rhythm of our conversation felt natural, like slipping into a song I already knew by heart. By the time we decided to head to his house, the sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the city. Cece pulled out his phone and ordered an Uber, which arrived minutes later. We climbed into the back seat, and as the car moved through the quiet streets, I felt the weight of the day settling in, a mix of excitement, nerves, and something I couldn't quite name. "So," he began, turning slightly toward me, "are you nervous?" I laughed, a little too quickly. "Not at all," I lied. He raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. "Good," he said, his voice low and teasing, "because you don't need to be." The driver made polite small talk, but my focus was entirely on Cisse. He sat close, his arm brushing against mine now and then, and the warmth of his presence felt like a gravitational pull. We headed straight to his home. Inside the house felt warm and lived in, with cozy furniture and small touches that spoke of a man who cared about making a home for his son. There were posters Em had worn and achieved from school on the wall, especially his fridge. I felt a pang of warmth and nervousness. Cisse spoke about Em with tenderness that made my heart ache. "He's at his mom's this weekend," he said, his voice soft, noticing where my eyes had landed. "It's just us." Even though I hadn't met Em yet, I could already feel the weight of his presence in Cisse's life. It was clear that being a father was central to who Cisse was, and I admired that deeply. Everything took a different turn on the 21st of July, 2024. That Sunday afternoon, I decided to try alcohol for the very first time. I'd always avoided it before, but Caesar's easy laughter and the comfort of his company made me feel safe enough to try. I quickly learned that alcohol and I weren't the best of friends. By the time evening came, my head was spinning and I felt a queasiness that only grew worse as the night went on. I vomited a couple of times. Caesar was nothing but kind, guiding me to the toilet and checking on me throughout the night. "You'll feel better in the morning," he said, his voice soothing as he handed me water. I was nervous about meeting M. This wasn't how I had imagined our introduction, but I didn't have much of a choice. I heard the door open and the sound of M's excited chatter filling the house. A few minutes later, Cece stepped inside with M trailing behind him. "This is M," he said, gesturing to the boy beside him. M was smaller than I'd imagined, with wide, curious eyes, and an energy that seemed to radiate from him. He glanced at me, then at his dad. "Is she your friend?" he asked, tilting his head. Cece chuckled. "Yes, she is." M stepped closer, his gaze fixed on me. "Why, are you sick?" I hesitated, unsure how to explain, but Cece jumped in. "She wasn't feeling well, so she's resting here for a bit. Think you can help take care of her?" M's face lit up with a grin. "Okay." Over the next few hours, M darted in and out of the room, bringing me snacks, his favorite toys, and a running commentary on everything he'd done that weekend. His enthusiasm was infectious, and by the end of the day, I was laughing along with him, my initial nervousness forgotten. That evening, as M dozed off, Cece turned on to me with a soft smile. "He likes you," he said quietly. I looked at M's peaceful face, then back at Cece. "He's amazing," I said honestly. In the short time we spent together, Cece and I built a world of fleeting happiness. We cooked dinners side by side, our hands brushing as we reached for the same spice jar. We laughed over movies late at night. One of my favorite memories was M's birthday on August 10th. By then, I had met M, and though our introduction was unplanned, we had formed a bond that made me feel like I belonged. That day, we celebrated M's birthday with balloons, cake, and laughter that echoed through the house. Later, we ventured out to the Manchester Carnival, where the streets pulsed with music and color. M's joy was infectious, and for a moment, I let myself believe that this could be my forever, a life with Cece and M, filled with love and endless possibilities. But beneath the surface of my happiness, there were cracks I dared not speak of. Cece's phones were a shrine to his past, photos of his exes, and even intimate videos he'd kept from old relationships. They were a reminder of the life he'd lived before me, a life that I sometimes felt I could never fully be part of. I never voiced my discomfort though. I didn't want to disrupt the fragile connection we had or make him think I wasn't strong enough to handle the complexity of his world. Instead, I kept it all inside, plastering a smile over the jealousy and insecurities that simmered just beneath the surface. Everything unraveled on November 14th, 2024. By then, the relationship had lasted just over 4 months, long enough to feel deeply attached, but brief enough to leave questions hanging in the air. It happened suddenly, 2 days before Cece's birthday. You need to pack all your stuff and leave, he said, his voice calm but final. I don't want to see you again. His words hit me like a punch to the chest, and though I tried to hold back my tears, they fell freely. I didn't understand why it was ending, why the man who had once made me feel like the sun was shining just for me now looked at me with indifference. I packed all my things and left his house that night, my heart heavy with the weight of all the unspoken words I would never have the chance to say. As I walked away from Cisse's house that day, I couldn't help but think about the life we might have had together. I imagined celebrating his birthday as a family, the three of us laughing over cake and candles. I pictured more moments like M's birthday and the carnival, more evenings spent cooking together, and more mornings waking up to the sound of Cisse's steady breathing beside me. But some loves are not meant to last. In the days that followed, I reflected on what Cisse had given me, a glimpse of what it felt like to be happy again, even if only for a short while. He reminded me that love could be soft and joyful, that it didn't have to feel like an anchor. Now, as I look back on those few months, I try to hold on to the good, the laughter, the warmth, the moments of connection. They were real, even if the ending felt like a dream unraveling. Though I don't know if I'll ever fully understand why Cece let me go, I know this. Our brief time together changed me. It showed me what I want, what I deserve, and what I'm capable of giving. Some loves are fleeting, like summer, but just like summer, they leave behind a warmth that lingers, even as the seasons change. Thank you.